Welcome everyone. Today I wanted to showcase this Alchemy Boros burn deck which helped me climb the mythic ladder this season, currently sitting at 300 rank with the win rate at around 70% and it feels mostly favored against all the Alchemy metagame field as of right now. And this is just a new look at already established red burn archetype with the addition from recent Carl of Mana set in the form of Lightning Helix. Our main engine is Fiery Inscription, and staying in Boros colors, we can elevate it and be flexible whether we want to go for fast burning matchup or we can stay for grindy matchup. Another great addition from recent set is Fugitive Codebreaker, 2 mana 2/1 prowess haste creature with an additional upside in the form of refilling our hand if you already need it later in the game. In my experience, there have been a few moments where this additional line of text is, well, not only relevant but also life saving, I'd say. But of course, most of the time we just want to drop it as a threat on turn 2 if possible. A nice little trick I have learned from playing this card is if you have some spells which you want to cast, for example, some instants like Melt Through or Shocks, you need to go full control mode, turn it face up for its disguise cost, hold priority with the trigger on the stack or turning face up, and cast all the instants you want. This way, all the prowess triggers will trigger, and you'll also be able to refill your hand on the way. Of course, it only works with instants, but it's a really nice hint I used in several matches. And our other creatures are Monastery Swiftspear, which is a staple, and Heartflame Duelist, which I only run a single copy. This, being two spells in one, which are both relevant for us, is amazing, but I didn't like running more than one copy because it might get too clunky keeping it in your hand. Of course, 3 mana Lightning Bolt isn't great, but it's a nice addition to 2 mana 3/1 beater, which can attract a lot of attention in mirror burn matchups. Of course, a trick here is not to play all the spells the moment Duelist hits the board. If you expect it, if you expect it to be killed in response, well, you should better play a safe game and let your opponent make a first move. And to be fair, that's a whole tempo plan of the deck. Even though we are calling ourselves burn, we still need to be more reactive rather than proactive in some matchups. And the another card which might help us with this plan is Reprieve. You might say that reactive spells which don't drop our opponent to 0 life in burn deck might seem way too out of hand, but I must tell you it has won me so many matchups single-handedly, bouncing opposing Shieldred or the One Ring or the sweepers like Sunfall has been, well, at the very least enjoyable and sometimes even game-changing. And if you have Fiery Inscription on the board, it also deals damage in addition to drawing you the card from the reprieve. Well, if you have inscription on the board, you reprieve something, it deals 2 from inscription, you gain out the tempo, and you also draw a card from it. And another tricky line, which I could tell you about, is using reprieve on your own spells while inscription is on the field. Well, for example, if we have 4 mana, let's say, inscription on the field, we go full control, cast our shock, for example, or any other 1 mana burn spells. We, with the shock being on the stack, we cast Reprieve, targeting our own shock. It bounces back to our hand, and we get 2 Fire Inscription triggers on the way. 1 from the shock, dealing 2 to the opponent, another 2 from the Reprieve. So we dealt 4 damage for 3 mana, we drew ourselves a card, and we still have a shock in our hand. So we can cast it again for 4 more damage, so in all in total 4 mana for 8 damage, and also drawing a card in the process. Sometimes when you are empty-handed and you need to get those little bits, you can even do that with something like Lightning Strike, Lightning Helix, or maybe your own creatures, just in order to draw a card from the Reprieve and deal that last bits of damage with the Fiery Inscription. And our burn spells are rather self-explanatory. For Lightning Helix, for Lightning Strikes, for Shocks, for Range's Firebrand, and a single copy of Melt Through. And first of all, I know that Melt Through is just a straight up better version of a Shock. And to be fair, I just don't want to waste my wild cards for it, since in my experience, there hasn't been there hasn't been a single situation where I would need the effect of this card. My only idea would be to kill recently cast Shieldred. For example, on turn 4, you go into opponent's turn with unspent mana, hold up Melt Through, expecting Shieldred, drop her down to 4-3, and the upcoming turn finish it with either Helix or Strike. But in my experience, the moment when such a situation happens that you need to waste at least two of your burn spells on opposing creature, mostly likely means that you've already lost this game. And of course, I'm not gonna I'm aware that Melfru is always better than Shock, but if you don't want to spend your wildcards, just don't. It probably won't change anything. And Wrenn's Resolve is a nice refill card, which I'm considering rather weak for a burn shell, but not gonna lie, it's always great to top deck it with Inscription on the field and an empty hand, and to get some of those missing lands, maybe on turn 3 to drop the Inscription. And speaking of lands, we're running 23 of them, 11 basics, 4 Battlefield Forges, 2 Restless Bivouac, sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Running tap lands in this deck, I expected it to be way worse, because usually when you're running burn shells, you are really aware of running at least any single tap land. And in my experience, when you're playing aggro matchup, you want all of your lands to come into play untapped, but this deck is a little bit different from our usual aggro approach, which allows us to play tap lands some turns. And this Bivouac is sometimes, well, I must say, game changing as well. Because if you're facing, let's say, some sweepers, or you don't want to waste your burn spells without Inscription on the field and you're expecting to top deck it anytime, sooner or later, you can just dump your mana, making it a 3-3. Next turn you activate an attack with it, it's a 4-4. Next turn it's a 5-5, so it's a threat our opponent always has to be aware of. 2 A-Thran Portals, which were recently buffed for Alchemy, and I think that running any Painland in current meta might be, well, too painful, no matter how funny it sounds. So I'm only running 2 of them. Also, 4 Battlefield Forges aren't nice, because when you face Gruul or Boros Convoke or Mono Red Aggro, Mono Red Burn, you want to mitigate as much life losses from these lands as you possibly can, and those A-Thran Portals only tap with the pain imbued into them. So they're nice mana fixes, but sometimes I'm not so glad I'm running them, so only 2 copies. And for Crossroads, I've already talked about tap lands, and those Crossroads coming into play tapped is sometimes, well, I'd say relevant because we want to trick our opponent into thinking that we are playing another color. For example, I myself enjoy dropping it turn 1, being tapped. If I have no turn 1 play in the face of Monastery Swiftspear, I just drop it onto white, tricking my opponent into thinking that I'm playing some kind of white control shell perhaps, and going into turn 2 mountain, Fugitive Codebreaker. It's not that much of a blunder or something you can really catch your opponent off guard, but sometimes at least I want to make myself feel like it's useful. So sometimes those crossroads are nice when you go in second. When you go in second, of course, they're amazing lands, and when you go first, as I already talked about it, tap lands are keepable in this deck. That's why I run 4 of them. And that's pretty much all the deck. Let's go into some ranked games and see it in action. Alright, going first, we have a Swiftspear hand with turn 2 Codebreaker, maybe even turn 3 Codebreaker. Worst case scenario, we might go Swiftspear into Codebreaker and keep the second one for its disguise ability, so I think it's a keepable hand. Best case scenario, I think, will be top decking Fiery Inscription. Then I'll have a choice whether I want to go for Crossroads turn 2 and keep the mountain for turn 3, which doesn't happen, so I'll just go for Codebreaker as I expected. And next turn, we'll see what our opponent plays, which is Swiftspear, and it's gonna be Monstrous Rage. No, just a Mull through, which is fine. So I'll just Firebrand the Swiftspear. Unfortunately, to top deck this Reprieve when I don't have an untapped white land. So this is probably the moment where my Crossroads is gonna give me some bad times here. I'll go for Inscription, I assume. And if only I had untapped white mana, I would be able to Reprieve it, which doesn't happen. So another tapped land. My only hope here would be to Reprieve another Inscription. Well, that's bad for me. I have to Reprieve it now. Making them cast it again. And the question is, do I want to shock one of the human tokens? I think the answer is yes, but at this point I have how many? 3 spells in my graveyard, and I would assume this game is probably lost already. If I go for Codebreaker in disguise, turning it upside will cost me 3 as of right now. 2 next turn if I drop the Lightning Strike, so I think it's worth trying at least. I will go for red or white. I think white here because I want to activate my Bivouac some turn. And if they remove this Codebreaker right now, that would be a problem. Oh, if they go for Monstrous Rage here, I'd gladly Lightning Strike it in response, which they are. Fortunately, I have to drop down to 10 because of my friend Portal here. But let's hope they have no upcoming spells and nothing in their hand, which is irrelevant. Yeah, that's great. Alright, what do I do now? I certainly play my land. Red, whites, whites. Turn it face up. Question is... Wait, did it cost Oh, it costs... I'm quite bad at counting nowadays, so I'll just drop it. There's another 2-1 here. I didn't have to tap these planes. Now I'll just hope I can reprieve something relevant here, like second Fiery Inscription. Don't know what else I could reprieve here. Great, they just give me the turn. So I go Wrenn's Resolve here. Then I go Helix their face. Strike into Duelist. I probably have lethal now if they don't do anything about my Codebreakers. Let's see if they want to do something. Best case scenario is if they have Shock here. So I'll trick it out of their hand with the Lightning Strike. They will shock my Codebreaker and I just go for Helix in response. Yeah, that's a melt through. So I deal 3 with Lightning Strike, 4 with my Codebreaker, 5 if I go with Helix, and 3 from another Helix, which is 11 if only one of my Codebreakers live here. But if I save it with the Helix here, is gonna change anything? Let's see. I also gain some life in the process with the Helix. So if both of them survive, I actually win here, but them holding priority makes me think they have another burn spell here. At least now I'm making sure I survive another turn. Oh, not making sure, but at least keeping my life higher for the upcoming turn where I'll have with 10 life with the Helix now. And if they drop anything with the inscription on the board, they have only 2 cards in their hand. I would really hope one of them being Monstrous Rage and that they just can't have back any creatures. And is it the end now? Yep, good game. Alright, going second here. Double Swiftspear with a Codebreaker. Even though our hand is rather tightly locked, meaning we don't have any room for outplays, but we're up against another burn deck. So here I hope to... do I want to play it out safely and go for Firebrand right now? Or do I want to risk it and play out my Swiftspear? If I go Swiftspear here, I'll go next turn Swiftspear and Firebrand. That's a tricky part here. I think I want to play it out safe because I'm way lower in the choice of my plays for upcoming turns, while they might have something like Monstrous Rage here. So we just only take 2 instead of 4 here. And I'll drop double Swiftspear now, because I want to keep this Codebreaker in case I need to refill my hand. Inscription would be bad here. Yeah, it is. I would assume they will attack with both of them. No, they don't. Let's see how they block here then. Wouldn't you expect a Monstrous Rage from me? We want to double block. No, they just trade here. That's nice for me. But I assume with the inscription on the field, my ending is close. Do I want to save my Swiftspear? Strike in their face? Yeah, I think so. It's my only threat now. I need white mana to get back into the game here. It's fine me spending this strike to save my creature rather than deal some more damage with it. Yeah, they just choose to melt for it, which I'm fine with. Do they have another 1 mana burn spell here? If so, yeah, they do. I'm fine with it. Do I want to go Codebreaker? Face down here? Yeah, I think so. I'll just play it with these guys. Because my hand is rather weak here. That's another thing I thought about. Nice. I finally got a plains. I'll just stay in block with my Codebreaker, expecting to reprieve something relevant here. Another inscription maybe? Which they don't use. So I'll just helix their face, I assume. Don't want to spend this on their creatures. Yeah, I'd rather go for the face. Do they want to? I assume they have something like Lightning Strike here, and they just don't have enough mana to kill the Codebreaker through the ward ability. So they sandbag it. Let's see if it's true. They haven't shown me any signs of Monster's Rage yet. But I would think that they should have it here. Go for another Helix. Going up to 15 from 9 life. And I will sandbag these Reprieves. Nice, we have another white land. So now I can double Reprieve whatever they cast. And if all goes well, I'll refill my hand. Of course I have to reprieve it. I got no choice here. So is it shock actually? Nice, Heartflame Duelist. I'll just go face with it. And drop it. As a creature on the upcoming turn, I would think it would be great to top deck an inscription here. Which I don't. So it's Duelist. How many instants and sorceries I have in my yard? It's 5, so turning it face up costs only 1 now. And let's see, I drop the Duelist here. And I would probably want to reprieve. Yeah, they want to shock it. Do I allow it? Yeah, I think so. I'm fine with it. And I won't attack with it. If they go for second resolve, I will be reprieving it. Hopefully top deck. Well, Helix is fine. Alright, I'm down to 7. And they're at 6. I'm dead next turn. So I don't have any trampling cards. Let's see. I will drop the Forge. How much chances I have to top deck another 3 damage spell here? I have Strike, double Helix in my yard. That's 3rd Helix, so 3 strikes and 1 Helix in my deck left. I think I will hold priority here. Turn it face up. dropping the Helix their face so that prowess trigger goes here. So they're at 3 and I successfully top decked another strike. Good game. Alright, we're going second again. Hand having Swiftspear. The only question here is, do I play Swiftspear turn 1 or go for Bivouac, expecting to reprieve something on turn 3? We'll see based on the matchup. Turn 1 Mountain makes me think Burn again. Yeah, I think it's Chick. Another untapped land makes me want to just drop a mountain and wait for them to Monstrous Rage, but yeah, I'll just wait to shock their Chick if they try to Monstrous Rage it. And if they don't, I'll just kill it no matter what. Yeah, I'm fine just shocking it. In my experience, you better always kill the creatures the moment you can if you don't want to take too much damage. And here I can catch the Inscription with the Reprieve now, giving me some space to play my own Inscription. I expect it. I really do. And I don't drop it. That's only better news. Means I have my Reprieve up for something else. Now they have no means of removing my Inscription and they drop their own. Interesting. I think here I go for Red Crossroads, Swiftspear and second Inscription. What do I bin here? Yeah, another land. Is it Forge or Bivouac? I think it's gonna be Forge because I want my animated land to be relevant in this game. Maybe it's gonna come in handy real soon. Okay, so I'm taking only 2 damage. Thanks for the colorless land. I'll drop my Bivouac. Now 2 Swiftspears. So it's sad I can only deal 2 damage and reprieve something on their turn. Let's hope it's gonna be another Inscription. So I take full advantage of tempoing them down. Or maybe something like Wrenn's Resolve. Well, Witch's Mark is also fine with me. So they're down to 12. Monstrous Rage? Yeah, it is. So I'm down to 5 here. Top decking another land. Well, that's unfortunate. Top decking another Swiftspear. And they have at least 3 damage on their Swiftspear. I'm going down to 2. So I guess I have to animate this Bivouac. Attacking with it only. And drop my 3rd Swiftspear, so I have 6 health shared between my creatures to block their Swiftspear. Yeah, it's gonna be a relevant good game. Alright, going first. I hope this time around it's not gonna be mono red aggro. That is of course not the best. I think it's skippable. Is it Gruul aggro then? I'll just go with Swiftspear. Yeah, they're gonna kill it with shock. Okay. Go ahead. I'm all yours here. So probably I made a bad decision keeping this hand on a play. Maybe it was keepable on a draw. But on a play now, I have to top deck exactly third lands, or at the very least Wrenn's Resolve, so I can keep myself in the game. So if I'm going to top deck a land, which I don't. Alright then, let's see what we can do from here. All in all, if I am able to go for Inscription, I have 12, 16, 21 damage in my hand. And to be fair, I would just shame concede here. But alright. Let's see if I can play it out. I can catch them with Helix, and seems irrelevant now. I'll just kill whatever they make their ring bearer before they can loot. Still have exactly 20 damage in my hand if and only if I top deck another land. So I can helix something else here. Wrenn's Resolve down to 14. Swiftspear. Maybe I can catch it somehow if they monsters rage it, for example. Go ahead, I'm all yours. And just Firebrand. And I will... Wait, do I want to kill the Swiftspear or do I want to kill whatever they make their ring bearer? That's questionable. And I think they will make their Swiftspear their ring bearer. But I think I would rather kill it after making their ring bearer. And I don't want them to loot a single other card here. Alright, finally a third land. And I don't know how, but in theory I can still win it. In deep theory. Well, not anymore. Good game. Going second. Hand is somewhat fine. At least I hope Wrenn's Resolve can nudge me something. So I'll keep it. Finally, someone who isn't a burn player. Let's see what we're up against. Simic Merfolks. So I'll just shock it, I guess. And maybe I should have dropped my resolve here, but I would rather expect to helix anything they play here. Yes, so it explores. I get the boon. Let me think. Do I go for helix here? I think yes. So as not to let them do a single explore. Nice. So now they know I have melt through to answer their 2 health creatures. And if they don't play anything, I'll just melt through their face. And the hand is terrible to say the least. All the burn spells. I would really hope their hand is as bad as mine. I have 6 plus 6, 12 damage in my hand. I would expect they have Tishana's Tidebinder. Taking into consideration that they have some stops. Do they want to explore? I don't want you to. Not a single explore allowed here. Okay, so they seek a Merfolk here. They still have Tishana's Tidebinder. I would assume another burn spell. Nice. So it's 9 plus 4. 13 damage now. Amazing. And they have some action on 2 mana. So it might indicate that it's not Tishana's Tidebinder. Drop it on white now. Hoping to top deck some Reprieves. What might they have, I wonder? Do I shock it? Yeah, I totally do. Next Merfolk is considerable. Whether I want to strike Helix it or keep the Firebrand. Sentinel is out of range of all of these spells. So I need to top deck my inscription ASAP. Which I don't, so I'm gonna wait all I can. And probably lose here. Because I dropped the Sentinel. I can't answer it anyhow. Well, I can double Helix, double strike it. But I don't wanna spend all my spells in hand on it. Serum Snare. Interesting. I haven't seen such a deck yet. So they can answer my inscription. Which I don't top deck anyway. And what might they have else here? I think if they drop anything, I just can't kill it anymore. I only have to hope for an inscription, which even then they will answer with their multiple snares. Fugitive Codebreaker sounds interesting. But what am I to do with it? I will cross around 2-3, drop it as a cloud creature. And they would snare it. At least I bait it out of their hand. They would make it a 7-8 Sentinel. Oh, they don't. Interesting choice. I'm not gonna block it anyway. And they can snare it on instant. No thanks. So I'm dropping down to 12. Up to 15 with Helix. Strike down to 14. Are they gone? No, they don't play anything else. So I'll just start wasting my bounce spells. Interesting. Alright. So they caught me off guard. Pretty nice. And what else can I do here? White, red? Oh, maybe not. Yeah, no need to tap white here. Plenty of red. Still no inscription. Alright, yep, oops indeed. So I'm down to 8. What else might I have here? None, I would think, with a hex sketcher. Well, at least I can see my top deck. I would think that it's all irrelevant now, because even if I try to save myself with this bivouac, they would just snare it. Oh, it's only non-lead permanents. But they still have plenty of damage on 3 of their other Merfolks. Yep, good game. Going second again. I think this hand is rather fine. Swiftspear and Codebreaker being both of my threats here. And black mana. Don't know what might it be. Maybe Orzhov midrange. Yeah, so it's Orzhov colors. Is it gonna be no, only Witcher? I'm fine with it. Alright, question is, do I drop my Codebreaker here or do I keep my Reprieve? I think Reprieve is better for turn 4 against Orzhov players, so I'll just go in with it. Turn 3 might be also important, okay. I'm fine with it. We'll be reprieving it no matter what. It's gonna be Shieldred maybe. The One Ring. I'll just drop your portent. Shieldred it is. So Reprieve. And how much damage do I have in my hand? Another Reprieve for Shieldred, and it's gonna be 3 plus 6, 9 damage. The One Ring is reprievable as well. And I need my inscription badly here. You can drop your other One Ring again, please. Thank you. That lets me take another turn to top deck a Reprieve here. Maybe inscription, none of that. So I'll just grow my bivouac, but it seems the game is already lost. The bivouac deals no damage here because of the ring, but I just make it bigger for upcoming turns because I don't want to do anything with my spells. And if they drop their Shieldred here, I don't think I can afford to kill it with my spells. Yet if I don't top deck anything here. Let's see, yep. I think I should concede here. There's no way to come back from this point, but only out of the respect I think I can. Yeah, I'll drop Firebrand here on. No, Shock is bad because if I happen to top deck any creature and they drop any of their own, like another Shieldred. Well, even Inscription doesn't save me here because they have Portent and they are going to top deck. Yeah, I don't want to play it anymore. Good game. Well, who would have thought? Going second again and have an Inscription makes me think this is winnable. Have a Spear Guard is interesting. That must be mono red aggro. Maybe Boros Convoke. No, it's just mono red. And they actually kept a pretty bad hand with a one lander. So if they happen to Monstrous Rage the Scamp here, I can Helix it in response, which they don't. So I'm fine just taking it. And drop my Inscription here. No, they don't have any instants, so might they have in hand. Pretty winnable game, I guess, only because of my opponent keeping one lander. No, I'm not so sure. Do they sacrifice it? No, they don't. So if I go Codebreaker, killing their Scamp, they just kill the Codebreaker. What I think is I should drop my Codebreaker as a disguised creature here. So I'll just Firebrand the Scamp here, going down to 9, sorry. Yep. Drop another mountain and keep up Helix for any other buffs they might have here, which they do. I'll just Helix it. Don't want none of that. So, is it safe to play the Codebreaker turn face down right now? Sorry. Yeah, I think it is. Since it's under the ward and I can kill anything they want to play here. They can't remove it anyhow, thanks to the 2 lands. I'll block it. Do you want to buff it somehow? Yes, you do. I don't think there's any way for them to save it here. Sorry. Good game. Going second. Alright. I'll just accept my destiny here. Hoping to top deck something from Wrenn's Resolve. Keep off the aggression if they happen to be a mono red aggro. They go down to 5 cards, dropping a Dimir land. Is it as per control? Probably so. Still Dimir colors. Do I want to shock it? Yeah, I think so. A little bit scared. I will drop the Bivouac. It's fine. I don't think I'll need to strike anything this turn. Neither I would be able to. And question here is, do I kill it or do I let it live? It's tricky here. I think I'm obliged to. Otherwise I'll just won't be able to keep up with it. I don't want to, but I guess I have to. It's a rather bad play, but I was left with no choice. Hope that... Oh, well, of course. Alright. So be it. I drop Swiftspear first. No, I think I'll go for Wrenn's Resolve and... Alright, doesn't matter anyway. I wouldn't be able to attack with it, no matter what. Don't think I want to kill this Seed Shark here. So it's some Incubate, Proliferate, Graveyard deck, which I'm going to lose to, because I have no Reprieves, no Inscriptions. Deal. taking it. And so I will slash with the Duelist, drop the land and the Duelist, and just attack for 2. Strange for them to attack with the Sitchak here. I think they should be aware that I'm a burn deck. Well, a burn deck, keeping my opponent at 15 on turn 5. Do they want to attack with it as well? Yes, they do. I'll just take it. Do you understand it? So be it. I'll drop the Forge and yep. All tapped correctly, and I think so it's 3 plus 3 plus 1 7 plus 4 11 damage. I think I will strike here. This puts me up to 19. Of course my opponent making very strange mistakes, attacking with the incubator token here. I'm only a single shock away from winning now. Hidetsugu. I heard about Hidetsugu decks recently which run pool. And unfortunately I top decked the burn spell. Unfortunately for them, of course. Good game. Going first finally, and with a nice hand. Great news after great news. Swiftspear and Yogo. I can't remember what Mantis was playing lately. Is it Mono Red Burn? Might be. Yeah, it's a scam. Do I want to drop the Codebreaker? I don't think so, but I don't want to resolve as well, so I'll just drop my land and attack, hoping to strike their scamp if they plan to buff it with Monster's Rage. Swiftspear. Alright. If they don't cast anything, I won't cast anything as well. And would you want to buff your scamp or your Swiftspear? Scamp it is, so I'll just strike it. Don't want to take all that damage. Only taking 3 now. And hope to top deck and then tap land for Inscription. Thank you, I don't have to hurt myself with the A-Thran Portal now. Next turn, how many spells I have? Only 1. So I guess it's gonna be Resolve. Or maybe... Do they attack? Yes, they do. I agree with you, and I agree. So I think if I drop my Codebreaker and go Firebrand, their face, it's gonna be 5 plus 5, 10 damage. They're down to 6. But I'm way too scared of their Monster's Rages, so I'll just play it out safe and Firebrand their Swiftspear. And I'll loot away this A-Thran Portal, probably, yeah. Bye-bye. And yeah, I think I will drop this Plains. I wanted to keep it for next turn in order to discard it from my Swiftspear, but number 1, this Swiftspear might not survive until next turn. And number 2, I want to make my land drops. So Wrenn's Resolve puts them down to 7. They go for ally here probably. Boros Rage is an interesting card, although I think it's not really playable. Monstrous Rage and what is called the Aya card gives +2/+2 and trample is way better. Rather than making it 2/2 if it dies. Would you want to attack? No, you wouldn't. So I guess I go for Resolve first. Another Swiftspear. So be it. Let's see how they block, and I will discard this shock. Well, let me think. If I go for strike the soldier, they will block the Codebreaker, and I have 3 +2/+2 7 exactly, so it's once again they go down to 5 from Inscription. I kill the soldier, they can only block the Codebreaker. 3/2 is 5. Yeah, I think I counted everything correctly. And good game. Going first. I have double Reprieve, so I think it's keepable. And I will drop the mountain on turn 1. Fortunately, I don't have a tap land here, since I don't have any turn 1 play. Well, you would have been relevant the turn before. Is it gonna be Orzhov? Mono white lands. What might it be? I would assume they're holding up Reprieve here. And I will drop this as white land. Or is it gonna be soldiers? I think resolute reinforcements incoming. Yes, indeed. I'll just Reprieve it. It's the best target for Reprieve as of right now. Next turn I go for Inscription. They usually don't run any enchantment removal in their deck. And is it one of white soldiers? Probably so. So I'll just drop my Inscription and another Inscription on the next turn. Hope we can top deck a land so that I can also hold up Reprieve. Alright. Can they raise me here is the only question. With the veteran, yes, they can. So I guess I have to Inscription and shock the veteran here. Swiftspear isn't an option, so it's Inscription. And if I actually wait on it, I can go shock into shock, which is 12 +7, 19. No, that's not the play. I'll just shock it while I can. Don't know what they might run to save it, but I don't want to risk it. So they have 6 damage on the board. And I have some other removals, as well as a Reprieve in my hand. No idea what it might be. So let's see, I have to shock and probably lightning strike their creatures. Because they have lethal on board. Do I want to drop my Swiftspear? I don't think so. Oh, actually I might drop it as a blocker and hold up my Reprieve. I would assume they have another Resolute Enforcements here, which I must Reprieve actually, because then they can just exile their veteran and buff all of their soldiers. I don't have to attack here. And the question is, if they go for veteran line here, they have... This isn't a soldier, this isn't a soldier. Oh, that's what it is. Can I win? I don't think so. So Swiftspear was a mistake actually, because now they also have a lifelink as well as unstoppable lethal on board. I think they should see it. Yep, good game.